Hello, Nina. Hello, everyone. So, we're going to be making gnome bee wreath with this sign. This is a PVC sign from Craft Outlet. I also got this really cute gnome ribbon to go with it, along with 10-inch fabric mesh. This is all from Craft Outlet except for this ribbon here. This is 10 yards or 30 feet. Along with this golden yellow ribbon, or 10-inch mesh. It is 10 yards also. The ribbon is also 10 yards, and it's 2.5 inches. This one is from Sam's. It is the beehive ribbon. I got this one last year for spring, but they also have it this year. This is a 1.5 inch, and it is a 50 yards. Okay. The frame that we're going to be using is Dollar Tree. When you use a Dollar Tree frame, always make sure that it is not broken. Pull on the metal a little bit to make sure that it's not going to pop off of the brackets here. Because everyone loves to use the Dollar Tree frames, but it's all fun and games until it breaks when your wreath is almost done. Okay, so let's cut that off. That's our little tag. It is a 14-inch frame. And yes, I have the silver one, but you could use the black one or the green ones if you have those. Okay, so first things first, we need to put our cable mounts on the back of this. Yes, you can punch holes in this. I do not, because I don't like the look of having holes through the signs. Okay, so what I usually use is these cable mounts here. I get them from Amazon. They come with zip ties as well. The zip ties I use for my bows. But for these, the reason why I use these is because there is no foam on the back of them. And when you are gluing, so this is the normal cable mount that everyone else uses. And it has a foam on the back of it. The problem with that is that when you are gluing this onto your sign, you're gluing the foam to the sign, not the cable mount to the sign. Do you understand the difference? Because eventually the foam will peel off. I make my stuff to last, so that is how I do this. These are little cable mounts that I get from Amazon, and they have like a whole bag. It's like 100 of them or something. Yeah, 100. Just put in your Amazon white cable mounts or clear cable mounts. I believe they come in black as well. We are using E6000 to adhere them on. I do not use hot glue because it does eventually melt, especially if you live in the summer and in the Colorado weather. Okay, so we're just going to put a little bit on there and then put it on. And I usually do like a cross. So one there, one across from that. The last one here. Doesn't matter if it goes up and down or sideways. That is your own preference. It'll still sit on the frame nonetheless. And again, this is E6000. It's the clear, not the white. The clear is like a gel, and the white dries differently. I like the clear better. And you can get this on Amazon as well. It is cheaper on Amazon than buying it at like Hobby Lobby, Joann's, Walmart, etc. Alright, so the pipe cleaners are also coming from Amazon. I get a pack. There's like 4 things like this with the rubber bands. and you could set it up so that it can get delivered every month, or every 3 months. I just use a lot of pipe cleaners because I am essentially a wreath maker, and so we use a lot of pipe cleaners. These are clips. I've said before, we got them from the Dollar Tree, and you just clip them on. I like the big ones. You could also use the small ones. I have both, but they work better on the signs if you use the big ones. And this will have to sit for 24 hours. So if you want to do your sign first and then come back to the video, that's okay. Or what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it sit for a little bit, and later in the video we'll put it on, but it will literally be 24 hours later. Okay, let's get started with our frame. I should also show you the different types of equipment I use. This is my scissors for mesh. It is the only thing I use for my mesh. I do not use any other scissors besides these. And these scissors are only used on mesh because the ribbon will dull my scissors because there is little wires in the ribbon here. So these scissors are only used on mesh. These scissors are only used on ribbon. They are Friskers, both of them are. The reason why I like to use these on the mesh is because I can just do this instead of going, okay? These ones are really precise and sharp, and so it's better to use these on the ribbon. If you use dull scissors on your ribbon, it will fray. It will not look as nice. If you have dull scissors, you can get a sharpener. Friskers makes sharpeners, and they're really easy to use. Okay, so we have those. This is my wire cutters. They are heavy, but that's because sometimes I have florals that I need to cut, and the stems are really, really heavy. They're cobalt. I also got these from Amazon. They have lasted me quite a while, and they're still not dull. So that's what I use. Okay, so let's start with our pipe cleaners. So first you're going to want to find any spot. And you want to do the bottom, the fourth bracket, or the fourth rung, and the third rung. Okay? We always put it around 2. Not 1, 2. It'll stay on better. Make sure they're about the same length. Pull it over. See that? Make an X and twist once, twice, and then pull your pipe cleaners to the middle so they're out of your way. Do you see that? We're at the fourth and third rung. This is the first and second rung. Okay. So I need to get a marker. I forgot to get a marker. Okay. Now you do not have to do this step. I like to do this step because it's easier for me. It is up to you if you would like to do this. So what I do is I do 4 inches. So I take my hand and put a mark. And then I put a mark at the 4 inches. It doesn't have to be exact. Because when you're doing circles, it's harder to make it straight enough so that you can measure where you need your pipe cleaners. Okay? And the reason why we are doing 4 inches, okay, is that this is 10 inches. If you put it in half, that is 5 inches, and you want it to be overlapped a little bit with the one that's next to it. So it is an inch overlap on each side for the next bundle of mesh. So that is why we do 4 inches. All right, so next you're going to take your hand or whatever measurement you're using. You could also use your bat. It's up to you. I use my hand. go to where the other mark is, and then put your pipe cleaner. It's as simple as that. 1, 2, put the pipe cleaners in the middle. Now, for the back one, find somewhere in the middle between the 2 pipe cleaners. Does not have to be exact. It's never going to be exact. So, as you can see, we are on the first, second, and third rungs. Okay? We do not want to be on this one. This one is where we're going to put our hanging pipe cleaner so that we can hang it. We never put it out here because it comes out too far and it leaves too much of a gap in the middle. So when we are doing this, you can see that I tied the pipe cleaner to the closest to the middle on the third here. So we're going to do the same here, except it's going to be on the second. So when you tie it, you don't want to do it in the middle. You want to do it down here on the second rung. 1, 2. And then pull it this way towards you. See how the little knot is up here? You don't want it here or in the middle, you want it here. That way it's off-centered a little bit and you get more coverage out here. Okay? Your initial reason for having mesh is to cover the frame. You do not want to see your frame through it. Now let's measure. It does not have to be exact, and you might have to move it around a little bit so that it looks fuller later. 1, 2, pull it towards you. You could do the bottom rung all the way around if you would like, and then go to the top, but I like to do it all at the same time instead of spinning it more and more. So we're going to go there, measure. All the way up. Make sure it is, the knot's going to be here. The way you figure that out is where it's crossing. Okay, pull tight, twist, 1, 2, away from you. Now, I do recommend not using the Dollar Tree pipe cleaners because I've used them before and they're not as thick, like the amount of wire, because this is basically wire with the soft outer coating. That is what a pipe cleaner is. It is just twisted wire in the middle, but they have less wire in the middle and it's not as strong. So that's why I prefer not to use the Dollar Tree. But I mean, if it's just for you, then go ahead and do it. The cheaper you do it is fine. But if you're looking to sell these, then I suggest you use different pipe cleaners. The best pipe cleaners I've ever seen were from Hobby Lobby, unfortunately. But they were really expensive, but I was kind of desperate. These ones are a mediocre from Amazon. They get the job done, and they're cheap enough. So that is what we stick to. We're putting them in the middle and then outwards. It's so that they are not all sticking up and they poke you. Because yes, it does hurt. Okay, now as you can see, where I measured would be here. But if you look here, there's less space in between. So I'm just going to scoot this over just a little bit, just so it's more even. Wreath making is not a perfection art. You have to kind of be adaptable towards it. Okay. Here. And as this one as well. So the next one would have been right here. And that's too far. Okay, that's too close to this. So what we're going to do is we're going to move this a little bit this way. Okay. And then we're going to move this one a little bit this way. X, twist towards you. And then we're going to find somewhere in the happy middle here. I prefer not to put these so close together, like right next to each other like these are. If you have a couple like that, that's fine. They just seem to turn out better if you don't do that. Twist twice towards you. Now we're done. Now let's count them to make sure how many pieces of fabric mesh we need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17. Usually I end up with 17. I might end up putting an extra if it looks a little empty. But usually that does not happen. All right, so we're going to put this up here for now because we don't need it right now. Okay, so since we have 17, we're going to do 8 and 8, and then the last piece is a judgment call, is what I call it. A judgment call means that whatever color would look best in the last spot, that is what you put there. And if both of them would look good there, you could also do half of this color and half of that color for the one bunch of mesh and then put them together, just half the size for each. And I'll show you what I mean in a minute. So first let's open it and I'll show you what a fabric mesh is. This is black fabric mesh. Okay, if you could see it, there is a fabric running through here, which is basically like a thin twine. And then you have your deco mesh, which is the little plastic running this way. Now, in order to make a wreath, I suggest you get accustomed to knowing how to use the mesh. This mesh here has these little fish hooks. You see these? They'll catch on your fingers and they'll catch on your clothes. I suggest you get to know that because this won't come off of here unless you cut it. Don't cut it, okay? You can cut it this way, but never cut this way. Do you understand? Because if you cut it this way, it is going to fray really badly, okay? So you want to have this as one of, say, your seams. When you're cutting and you're sewing something, this is your seam. You don't want to cut your seam because it'll come apart, okay? All right. So now that we're done with the pipe cleaners, we're going to move that to the side. All right. And I was stupid and put all of these over here when I needed them. Needed them out of my way. Okay. Okay, so today we are going to do a cruffle. I do love my cruffles. The reason why I like cruffles, this is the type of bundle that you use, okay? This is one of them. The reason why I like cruffles is because it frays less. There is a less chance of it fraying, and it's very easy to take it off if it does get hooked on something and it frays, okay? Now, we are going to be doing 26 inches, okay? Actually, it's 28 inches. 28 inches of mesh. And I know that sounds like a lot, but let me tell you, it'll look fuller and it'll look nicer. On top of that, you will have extra because we have 2 colors. All right. So you're going to, what I do is that I mark my mat. That's my mark right there. That way I know. Okay. So we're going to do that. Unlock your scissors. There's a little locking mechanism so you don't get cut. See how easy that is? You just push down. Okay, so if you see this, try to cut in between, not on top of the string that goes this way. Try to cut in between the little boxes. Okay, don't worry about the deco mesh, just the fabric mesh. Cut in between the fabric mesh. Okay, so You just cut it. It does not have to be precise. Like I said, it's still not going to fray. So even if you just want to cut it, that's fine. Okay, there you go. So we're going to roll it up. And then we need to finish cutting. And yes, you can also cut fabric mesh with a wood burner. I prefer not to, just because this is a cruffle method, and so it just defeats the purpose. If you are doing a different method, then yes, I would agree to cut it with a wood burner. But because we're doing the cruffle, you do not need to. That's 4, so we need 4 more. All right, so now we have about a quarter left of this mesh. That is still plenty. We can do another wreath with 3 colors, and this should be plenty if you have the 3 colors all about the same length. So that is good. Let's throw that over there. All right, let's open our yellow. So this is a yellow, but it's like a sunflower golden yellow. It's almost orange. This is an orange. See how there's a little bit of a difference there. The reason why I use this is because for some reason the yellow doesn't look as good when you're making a bee one. And I honestly love this color. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. Pull it over to your 1 mark. And then cut it 28 inches, exactly the same thing. Try to cut in the middle. If you don't, that's okay. It's not a big deal. There's 1. And yes, I'm sticking my thumb in here so that I can spin it, but I would be careful. Sometimes there is a staple in there. So please, please be careful. It's really not taking me that long to cut this. If you were using a wood burner, you would need a cutting board, like a glass cutting board or a piece of glass on top of this, and it would take longer. So when I am doing a poofy wreath, I just prefer to just do a cruffle, and then we wouldn't have to worry about that. Later I will show you different techniques. But as of right now, this one is going to be a cruffle. So next, take one of your rolls. It doesn't matter what color. You can use your scissors to put it on the end there so it doesn't roll. Okay, and then we're going to get clips. These are my big clips. You could also use the little ones. They still work. Okay. All right, so you're going to take the corner right here, fold it over, just to make like a triangle. Do that on both sides, okay? Then you're going to fold this over, and then you're going to roll it. You want to make something like a curl, like that. There we go. Then clip it, okay? That's what that looks like. Next, you're going to flip it over. But first, I want you to look inside of there. It does look like a curl, but you can tell that it is still folded in there. So that open frayed part is not going to be visible to anyone else. It can't get hooked on anything because it's inside. And even the edges that we folded over are stuck in there. That is why we fold it. Alright, so see all this freeness? That doesn't matter. We're just going to fold it. You don't have to cut it off. Just fold this over so you have your 2 corners, and then you fold this part over and then roll. Roll it until this goes all the way around once. Okay, next you're going to find the middle. Okay, usually it's easier with they have stripes, and then you could tell. It doesn't have to be the exact middle. You can tell later. So you're going to pinch, pinch the ruffle, the little curl, and then we're going to walk it up. Take your fingers and pull the mesh towards you. Take your fingers and pull the mesh towards you. Okay, it'll keep the about the same length all the way up if you pull it towards you versus climbing up. The reason for that is that you don't have any control on where you put your ruffle when you're climbing up this way. But if you pull it towards you, it's only as far as your fingers can reach. So keep your hand at the same spot and you'll have about the same ruffle all the way up. So you're going to take your clippy off and put it around the whole thing. Okay? And this is what your ruffle looks like. This is what it looks like in the back. You can see every pleat that we made. And then the curls. Okay? All right. So we're going to do that with all of these. And it doesn't matter what order you do it in. It is up to you. See that? See how we accidentally cut it here? It's not going to matter. I mean, you could just pull it off if you want to. It's not a big deal. It'll come right off, usually. This one wants to be stubborn. Put your scissors or something heavy down there. Fold the corner over to be somewhat triangle shape. There you go. Fold the top over. See this? This is what's going to fray. Okay, we don't want that. Fold that over and then roll. And you can roll it tighter, just not too tight, okay? And then you get one of your clips. Put it on. Flip it around. Fold. Okay? Fold this up and roll. About once all the way around. Okay? Does not have to be perfect. Keep the curl in the same spot. Hold it. Put your fingers out as far as it can go and pull towards you. The ruffles will be the same exact size all the way up if you do this, instead of walking it up. There we go. Clip. And there is our next ruffle. And yes, they will sit on top of each other like that because they are attracted to each other. I don't know. I've had like 40 of them just stacked on top of each other and they don't fall usually. Every once in a while you'll get one that's stubborn. All right. Okay, so let's finish this. This is our last yellow and then we have the black. Okay, fold it over, fold this part over, and then curl. Get a clip, some over here. These do work as well. See? So whatever clips you have is fine. You can even use bag clips. Does not matter. I just prefer these because they hold more, they open wider, and these little pink slips right here protect the sign when you're using them. Fold over. Curl. Bring towards you. Yeah, I'm going to change. I prefer a different clip. Okay. All right. All of the yellow is done. Now let's do the black. Fold over just like the yellow. Fold this part over and roll. Clip. Fold over, fold the end over, and then roll. If you like the poofy wreaths, this method is going to be your best friend. It is easiest to make this method, and then add ribbon instead of like the bubbles or the poofs method. It's not as easy to add the ribbon as it is this. On top of that, we can build like a pancake, which I'll show you here in a little bit. You could also do that with the poofs. I just prefer this way. I think it looks fuller and it looks nicer, but that is a personal preference. I think I will probably be putting this one and the dog one in my Shopify. So if you do want to purchase it, go ahead and click on the link down below to my Shopify store. And yes, I can ship. Shipping does cost usually around $30 to ship, depending on where you're going. Just because the box is so big, I have to order specific boxes, and yes, I get them on Amazon. We could do another video showing you how to box up a wreath later if you'd like. And as I've said before, from all of my stuff that I have learned, most of it is either from my grandmother or from YouTube videos. I am self-taught, and I have just picked and choose which methods I like the best, and then combined some of them and fixed some of the methods, at least in my opinion. There we go. So, it's our frame. All right. Now, how do we put this on? Well, I'll tell you. You can either start in the middle, or you can go and start at the back, or you can do this all the way around. I like to do like this all the way around, just because I like to do every other. So I'll do a black, and then I'll do a yellow, and then I'll do a black, and then I'll do a yellow. And if I'm doing 3, then I also do the same, but I usually start in the middle and then do the outside, because it has 3, and so you want to alternate the color that you start with down here. Okay, so if we're going to put black here, so first you put your cruffle in, take your clip off, okay, make an X, okay, and it's really loose right now. If you can see that, it's very, very loose, but it's still not going anywhere, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to pull tight and pull down. Okay, see how far that went down? This is going to make the cruffle pop up a little bit. Twist 1, 2, okay? Pull it over to the side, okay? If it's a little crooked, that's okay. We can fix that. It's not a big deal. All right. So if that one is black, then that means, Tower of Mesh fell. And that means that this one here next to it is going to be yellow. X, pull and push down. Okay, twist tight. You want it tight. So what we are doing is creating a pancake method. And so that means that this is the first layer of your pancake. This is your first pancake. Okay, the second layer is going to be ribbon. And the third layer may also be ribbon. And then your fourth layer could be like embellishments. And then on top of that could be your sign or a bow. Okay, so you just stack them on top of here in the pipe cleaner. And when you're done, I'll show you what we need to do after we're done. Okay, so now that we have our black and our yellow, okay, this one right here next to it is going to be yellow as well. And this one will be black. So we're going to put this one yellow. The reason why I say this one is going to be black is because it's so close to this yellow that I want it black. Take a clip off. Okay, about the middle. If you see something like that, that is not mesh. This is like the plastic stuff that gets stuck on there sometimes when they're making it. So it's see-through and it's very thin like hair. And so you just put it in the trash. It's fine. Pinch. Put it where your knot is. That's where your knot is. Put it where your knot is. X. Okay. Pull towards you and away from you. And push down at the same time. Twist. Twice. That is all you need. Oh, there's another piece of that hair-like stuff. And just pull it. It's on the outside here, so it's not going to harm it. Okay. That means that this one here is going to be black. Open up your pipe cleaner. Get a black. Take the clip off. Find the center. If you are concerned about making sure that it's about the same, you could fold it over and just kind of check it. I just kind of eyeball it. Okay. Put it in between your pipe cleaners on the knot. X. Pull and push down. Okay. Twist twice and you're good to go. It ain't going anywhere. Here, I'll even show you. It's not going anywhere. Okay. 2 times is plenty. Just kind of spread it out a little bit. Now, as you can see as we're going, you could see just a little bit through it, but once you put your ribbon on, you won't be able to. And especially if you hold it up here, you don't see through the mesh. Okay, that is one of the reasons why I love the Cruffle. Clip. Okay. Pull your pipe cleaners apart. Pull tight away from you and towards you, depending on which pipe cleaner you're holding, which part of the pipe cleaner you're holding. Open it up. Let's do the black. Once you get the hang of everything, it won't take you as long to make wreaths, especially if you're doing it the way that I'm doing it. Some wreaths will take you hours, literal hours, because of the method that you are using. And depending on the embellishments that you put on it. One of the ones that's taken the longest is a bunny face wreath that I made with little carrot Pip. Pip is a small looking teardrop berry, and it comes on a pick, and there's little carrots on it. You can get it at Michael's. But I got a bunny face and then put that in there. We can do a face later as well. But because of the method that I use, it is harder to put the picks on with the method that I used. And the method that I used was a folded ruffle. And that was from Julie's Wreath Boutique. I got that from her video. But I used it as a face. And I used the Dollar Tree looking Unique in the Creek boards. They look like Unique in the Creek boards, except they're Dollar Tree. There we go. I just don't like it when they're kind of sticking together. And if you want to, you could just kind of put your clips in as you go. They do kind of get in the way eventually. Okay. All right. How is that one so close? Did this one move? It did move. So this one moved a little bit. So we're going to move it back. All right. Once we get all these in here, they're not going to move very much. X pull. Because there will be no room for them to move. All right. Jack. My cat is wanting to come in, but I don't allow them to come into my kitchen, to my crafting room. He really likes to lay on top of my wreaths while I make them, but it makes it for a mess. It just makes it so much harder. Oh, I messed up. I put a black where I needed to put a yellow. So let's put the black up here instead. There we go. Yellow. My guess is we'll need a yellow. That is what my guess is. We might even need an extra one, depending on what it looks like when we are done. All right. As we are finishing these up, I would like to tell you why I got my name. There it is. My name means crafter, which is a crafting, okay, person. And then senpai. Senpai means teacher. And it is a Japanese word. Or a sensei is also, okay. That is why I am crafter senpai. And I think when I do my videos, I'll probably name the anime that I am working on. Right now, I'm rewatching One Piece because I ran out of Criminal Minds episodes. So I decided to rewatch One Piece. I'm also currently watching To Your Eternity. It's on Crunchyroll. Really good. What else am I waiting for? I'm waiting for the new episodes of One Piece as well. And soon we will be watching Dr. Stone, Jujutsu Kaisen. I just finished Mob Psycho, the new season. And I will be watching the new Attack on Titan season as well. The last one, hopefully. All right. So now you're going to look at it. I have a yellow here and a black here. And this is what I was talking about. Now, you can either move this over and do a yellow here and then put an additional one here. We have enough room for that. Or you can do half the size for the yellow and then half the size for the black. Like say if you are running out of one of the colors, you could finish that one color and then add some from the other color and put them both in here as both cruffles. Okay, so I think that is what I'm going to do just so I can show you what I mean. So what we're going to do, move our stuff here, roll it out. All right, so we do not need the entire thing. This is the 28 inches. Okay, so we're going to do somewhere around, say, 16. And just cut. We could pretend that I ran out of the yellow. Oh no, I don't have any more yellow. So what you're going to do, let me get up and get the black. Kind of threw it on the other side of the room. And then we're going to do the same thing. Okay. You're like, oh no, I ran out of the black and this is the only piece that I have. That's okay. Okay, now we have two pieces that are smaller than the actual cruffle. You're going to take 2 clips, okay? You're going to do the same thing, fold over both sides. Fold this over, roll. Okay. Clip, go to the other side. What we're essentially making is a smaller cruffle. Roll it. Okay. Bring it towards you. See, it's a smaller cruffle. All right. Now we're going to do that the same one over here. Bend it over. Roll it. Clip. Do the other side. And roll. Bring it towards you. And then what you're going to do is you're going to pinch this one. Bring your fingers out like this. Bring it and put it on the other part. And I still have my pointer finger right here. Okay, do you see? Thumb, pointer finger, middle finger. Put this real next to the clip, just like that. And now my pointer finger is here. Unclip. Clip. Okay, now you have a full-size cruffle. And yes, it is bending one way or another, but it'll look just fine once you put it in. Okay? All right. You could also do them a little bit longer if you wish. This was just to demonstrate what you can do if you ran out. And then you just put them both into the pipe cleaner, just like normal. Pull, twist. You can decide whether you want the black facing inwards or the yellow facing inwards. It is up to you. And then just kind of, there we go. Ta-da! Now we have a finished face. We still need to do the ribbon and put the sign on and whatever else we're going to do. I might even put little tiny bees on this one. I haven't quite decided yet. Let's put this mesh over here so it stops attacking everything else. All right. So over here. That was just a little pin I put in my ribbon so that they don't get everywhere. All right. Okay, that's what this ribbon looks like. Let's open this one. Okay. And that's what this one looks like. See, there's a man gnome and then a girl gnome. Okay. One's holding a honey pot, the other one is holding the honey dipper. Okay? All right. Before we start putting the ribbon on, what I want you to do is I want you to take your base and I want you to find out where you want to put your center. I usually put it in the middle because that is what I like to do. But you could also put it here. That also looks up really good. You could put it at the top. I honestly do not care for putting it at the top. I usually like to put it on the sides or in the middle. I think today we're going to put it in the middle. So you don't have to worry about anything like that. You just need to make sure that when you're putting your ribbon, keep in mind that your sign is going to be in the middle. If you put your sign on the side, I want you to keep in mind that it is going to cover at least one full bundle of your mesh. Okay, you won't be able to see the ribbon. And so there is literally no point unless you are doing different ribbon techniques and the ribbon comes further out enough that you will see it. But if you were just doing a basic ribbon, it's not going to matter. No one's going to see it. Save a little bit of your ribbon. Okay? So today we are going to do a couple of different techniques just to show you what we can do. What I think we're going to do is we're going to do the regular cut the ribbon, put it in the pipe cleaner. Okay, and then I think we're going to make a stream of ribbon with this one as well. Okay, so we have 17 pipe cleaners, 17 bunches of mesh, which means that we need 17 cuts of ribbon for the bottom one. All right. So what you're gonna do is don't forget your this is my magnet. I got it from the Dollar Tree. I like to save money, and so should you. I'm just gonna push these. These are just the little pieces of wire that gets cut by my scissors, and this little piece of wire gets stuck on your foot and stuff if they get left unchecked. When you cut, make sure you have a magnet close by, and once you're done, you just do this and pick up the little pieces of ribbon or the little pieces of wire. Okay, you see that? That is wire. And once I cut it, these pieces of wire are going to be out. Imagine that going into your finger or your foot or your pet's foot. Okay? All right, so because these are 10 inches of mesh, correct? And so you have 5 inches going this way, 5 inches going this way. Okay, so you want it no less than 10 inches. Okay, because when you put it in there, you're going to have half on this side, which is 5 inches, half on this side, which is 5 inches. I usually do 12 inches so that it goes a little bit over the mesh. That is what I prefer. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to cut my 12 inches of ribbon. Bring it over to your line and just cut. See how clean that cut? And no, it is not completely even if you look at it, but that's okay. Because what we're going to do is we're going to fold it over. You're going to go up to the corners. Whichever corner is the lowest, that is the corner that you're going to match it to. See how it's a loop like that? Push it down, pinch it, so that it stays where you want it to go. Okay? And then you're going to pull it over, match the corners up, just like so. Now you're going to line up your scissors to match where the corner ends. Do you see where the corner ends right here, where the stitches are? Not up here, down here. And cut. Did you see that? The wire went flying. You don't want the wire everywhere, okay? And then what we're going to do is that we're going to take it and we're going to push. So all I did was I put my thumb here, my pointer finger is here, okay? Put your thumb on this side and push towards your other thumb like a pinch. Use your other finger to grab the middle, okay? And then do the same thing again. Get your thumb and your pointer finger, push it towards your other thumb and pointer finger. Okay, and then pull this down into your pinch. Okay, now you have a nice little pleat, and when you bend it over, it'll be the same size. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to take it, you're going to put it into your bunch and put the middle where the little knot is in your bunch. Then you're going to X and twist once, twice. Just like that. Okay? And then we're going to do that for all of them. So let's get cutting. Now, some people use the Unique in the Creek ribbon cutter, which is basically a piece of board, and you wrap the ribbon around it. Now, I am clumsy. I am very unlucky. So I don't use that because I don't want to waste my ribbon in case I mess up. So I cut my ribbon individually. But if you do not have time for that and it is not for sale, it's just for your house or whatever, just get a piece of wood and measure it at the length that you would like. So right now we're doing 12 inches, so 12-inch piece of wood, and then you're just going to wrap it around the wood, and then you'll just cut it at the top and the bottom, and then you'll have your 12 inches. I prefer not to do it that way just because I like it to be about the same size, and I'm a little picky about that, and I could see me messing it up. Remember, we're doing 17 and we already have one in there, so we need 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we need 10 more. If you want to be picky about it, you can cut the ribbon so that the gnomes are not cut off, but I don't do that because that just wastes ribbon, and ribbon is expensive. As we go along, I will show you more advanced techniques with ribbon. You can multi-layer them, and so that you can do like a 12-inch ribbon, like a thick 2.5 12-inch ribbon. And then you could do one slightly smaller. So we'll do it at like, say, 10.5. And then you could do another one at like, say, 9.5. And then you'll have this layered look. And yes, you will have extra unless you choose to do a bow. I'll show you. So this is how much extra I still have. After all those cuts at doing 12 inches, I still have all this extra. Okay, we're going to put that to the side there. So I want to see the gnomes underneath. That is the whole point of getting this ribbon. Okay, this ribbon is a specialized ribbon, which means that it has a character or a thumbprint that goes to your sign. And so you want to see the ribbon that is underneath it. Can you see the ribbon underneath it fully if you put another ribbon on top of it? No, you won't be able to see it. So we have to come up with a different way to do it. One, we can make it shorter so you could see some of it. I don't like that idea. Two, you cannot put it directly over it. And so when you put it on there, it'll be shorter and then it'll be like this. And then you will still see some of it. Okay, that's option 2. Option 3, we can have it travel. And so these will be coming up like that. And this will be going over like this. Okay, and so I think that's what we're probably going to do today. Just because I want to be able to see this ribbon. Okay. So we're going to match the corners up. So this one is a little bit taller on this side, you see? And so make sure you do the lowest point. Pinch. And then when you pull this over, match the lowest point to the other lowest points. See how this one is further up? You're going to cut to the lowest point. See? There you go. All right. Let's get all these cut, put them on there, and then I'll show you how we're going to do the rest. And I think I'm going to add some little bees on top of these as well. I found these little tiny wooden bees at the Dollar Tree. They also had ladybugs. And I think I'm going to use those. I'm going to take the foam off of them most likely and put a cable mount on them. And yes, you can use cable mounts on just about anything. The E6000 does not work on it feels like a plastic acrylic gingerbread people in houses that you get at like Walmart and Michael's and stuff. For some reason, the E6000 does not work on them. I have tried. But anything wood, anything plastic, anything metal, it'll work on. Okay? When we are done, we will have a fully wired wreath that requires no hot glue, that will fray less than other wreaths. And you could also spray it with Rust-Oleum Clear. It's a spray paint. And I know that's scary. It sounds like it's scary, but it's not. It's just a clear spray paint. And it will keep the sun rays from destroying the color of your mesh for longer. I do suggest you respray every 6 months. But if you have a door that has the sun shining on it all the time, I suggest you spray it with Rust-Oleum Clear. It'll also help repel water. It won't repel it all the way, but it will help repel it. I usually do all my wreath spraying in the spring or the summer just because it's cold during the winter and they don't dry as fast. And so usually I do it during the spring or the summer. If I do have a whole bunch of Christmas, which usually happens, I'm stuck outside spraying in the winter when it's cold and the wreaths take longer to dry. Usually they're dry within seconds. Usually you could just hang them back up on your wall or wherever you're putting them, and they'll be just fine. Now, you may keep all of these little triangles for scrap and use them. I honestly think that it just gets in my way. And on top of that, the little tiny pieces of metal that are in the wire, in the ribbon, just pose a threat. So I just toss them. But if you have a craft that you're going to use them for, go ahead and keep them. Put them in a little baggie or something. And if you have leftovers on your spool, always keep it. You know, you never know when you might need it. You could always make another bee wreath and then use it again. This spool that I got from Sam's, it's been a year. I've done like, I think I can do about 10 bows with one spool of the 50 yard. And then I've done some wreaths with it as well. But I had a couple of them, so that's why I still have like some left. I think I even bought another one this year. Bees are very, very popular, and they're very cute. I usually don't do gnomes. Gnomes, I think, are just a little overrated, but that is just my opinion, not other people's. Okay, so the Friskers scissors, you can see the little pieces of wire coming off of it. They're magnetic. They don't say it on the packaging, but they do. It is magnetic. And so I just kind of, it's a good thing and a bad thing because sometimes they get stuck. Okay, and I don't want that. All right, so be careful when you're picking up your little pieces. There will be pieces of metal laying on your table or attached to the ribbon still. Okay. I have to make sure it goes all the way in my trash because my cat will eat it. Okay, so you take your magnet and just kind of, I don't use a too strong magnet. The reason why is because my tools are all metal. And so I brought a really strong magnet down here one day and I couldn't get my scissors off of it. So that was interesting. Okay, so let's put all of our ribbon on. So you can choose whether you want to put all of these on and then go back through with the beehive ribbon. I usually tend to do that just because it lets me focus on one ribbon at a time. Now, if you're layering them on top of each other, you can do them all together instead of opening the pipe cleaner so many times. When you do your ribbon, you open it so you only have one layer of ribbon unless it's a different method of ribbon. Do you get what I'm saying? So if you have 4 pieces of ribbon that's laying on top of each other, just do the same thing and just find the middle, scrunch all the way across with all of them on top of each other, and then put them in the pipe cleaner. Okay, this is what I am doing, so you can do it in other ways. I know lots of people do ribbon a whole bunch of different ways. All right, so you have your X, twist. All right, sometimes you might want to put your finger behind and just kind of, especially with this kind of ribbon, it's kind of satiny, and so sometimes it gets stuck a little bit in the little dent like that. And you're going to put this on every bunch of cruffle, okay? Because we're going to put our sign in the middle and nothing is going to be covered up. X, twist twice. go. And yes, your mesh will attack the ribbon. So I suggest leaving it to the side somewhere where the wreath will not attach to it. Put it in there. We can always fluff it after we are done, so don't worry about that too much. Just make sure it's going in the right direction. Okay? If they're standing up like that, that's okay. We can fix that later. All right. Let me show you again how I do this. Now, since we have a character, you can decide whether you want the feet to go on the right side or the left side. Or you could just do it randomly, see what happens. Pinch, point your finger on the back, thumb on the top. Pinch, same thing. Bring it about a quarter of the way across. Pinch. Do it again and again. See how it's kind of dented in like that? You can just put your finger in and just poke it. It'll go straight up, okay? Put it into your pipe cleaner. 2 twists is all it takes. When I say 2 twists, I mean 2 full twists. All the way around. Once, all the way around twice. Okay? I might have. So, looks like, oh, we missed one right there. There we go. And I forgot to tell you, you put your mesh curl side up, not curl side down. It is up to you, but I just like it curl side up. You could do it both ways and then figure out which way you like better. Okay, so for this one, don't worry about the end right now, okay? So since we're putting the sign in the middle, we don't have to worry about where we're putting this, but we do have to think about where we want to put this ribbon, because it is going to be trailed like this all the way across. Okay, so let's count the middle ring. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So we can do 4 and 4. So I think we're going to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend the pipe cleaner down to know where to stop. Okay, so we're going to stop there. We're going to stop here. 1 2 3 4. That's going to be our 4. 1 2 3 4. This one is going to be our 4. That way we know where to stop, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. Okay, and then let's count the outside, which might be easier if we do it this way. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Okay, so we're gonna have a 5 and a 4. So we need to decide which one we want to be longer. I think I'm going to put the longer one on the bottom. So let's see, this one stops here, and so we'll have this one stop here. 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, and then this one will stop here, and this one will stop here. Okay, the reason why I'm bending them down so that I can see where it stops. Okay, it'll be easier that way, and it'll help you keep track, especially if you are kind of an airhead like me, and then you forget what you're doing. Okay, so you could do this one of 2 ways. You can lay it on top like a pancake, or you can open it and put it in there. Today I'm going to open. They're not going to go anywhere. They've already been pushed down really well, so it's not going to be a big deal. So when you put your ribbon in, you want it to be a little bit shorter than that one, okay? So about here is fine. Pinch like we've been doing, okay? Put it in there. And twist. Okay. Then you could take it and dovetail it. All right. There we go. Now I'm going to put this little tail in the middle. Okay. See? Then we're going to move on to the next one. Make sure these ribbons are pulled out this way. Okay. Find your pipe cleaner there. Untie it or put it on top, whichever is easiest on you. Okay. Now we're going to bring this over. I like to go over and just give it a little bit of space on the top, like that. And then you're just going to put your pipe cleaners in the middle and pull and twist twice. Okay. Ta-da. Now you could still see this ribbon, but still get more layers. I'm just going to fix my mesh a little bit. It bothers me. Okay. Untie it. Pull it over. You want it to be about the same height. So if it's a little bit too big, pull it further. Okay, so we want it here. You could pinch it or you could just put it in. It is up to you. X, twist twice. See how neat that is looking. Okay. Now we're going to do that until we get to our bent over piece, which is here. Okay. So this one we're stopping at. So make sure that you have your mesh up a little bit so you know where to stop. Okay. Put it in and twist. Okay. Put these out. Cut it to the length that you would like. And then dovetail it. Okay. See how that's looking? We can still see all of the ribbon plus the mesh and it's still looking full. All right. Now, how we're going to start on the same side is the same way that we did before. Open your pipe cleaners. Okay. Put your ribbon through. Measure how long you would like it against the ribbon that is already in there. You don't have to measure it on your mat. Twist. And then you dovetail. I'll show you what we do with the pipe cleaners once we are done with this. Okay. And then pull this into the middle. Now you can do these so that they're longer. so you could see where it ends better. And then you can use that to accent whatever you're putting there. So if you were putting, like, say, a big bumblebee right here, you can do it longer and then the bumblebee will pop better. Okay, let's open this one. And yes, you could do this method with anything. It can be bumblebees, it could be ladybugs, it can be butterflies, it could be whatever wreath you would like to make. Red trucks, Christmas, Easter, St. Patrick's Day, whatever. It doesn't matter. It is just the type of wreath method that we are using today. And your imagination is how far it can go. Okay, so if you want to make a wedding one, but they're having a Star Wars theme, go ahead and make one. You can use a Cricut machine and make a Star Wars one. You cannot sell it because it's trademark. But you can give it to someone. All right. Now that we have finished the ribbon on the top, we're going to do the ribbon on the bottom. Now let's find where it is bent. I think I found the two right here. Yeah. Okay. So let's pull some more of this ribbon out so that it's easier when you put it on. This method also uses less ribbon than cutting it like this. Not a whole lot less, but still less. And so if you don't have a full roll, it's okay to do it this way. And then it'll be easier to take out if you run out and you don't have enough. There we go. Put it in there and twist to your desired length. There we go. Let's turn the wreath. Find your pipe cleaners. Open it up. Okay, there we go. Twist twice. Make sure it goes over everything. I know I don't have a specific length. It's just whatever looks the best to you. Just make sure that one is not too much longer than the others. Sure it is long enough and it's at the desired length. Cut it and dovetail. Move it to here. All right. Now, that is what our initial wreath will look like. It will look slightly different once we are done, because what we're going to do is we are going to take our pipe cleaners. Do you see your two pipe cleaners? You don't want them hanging out here. Okay? You don't want that. So, what you're going to do is you're going to take them, put them through the bottom here, okay, and then put this one through the one that's in the middle, okay. It can only be on one or two. It is up to you. It does not matter. Just pull tight like this and twist. Now your pipe cleaners are on the back, not the front, and my ribbon is attacking the mesh. Okay, so that when you do that, it makes everything in this bundle pop up. Okay, that's what you want. Spread your ribbon out a little bit, just like that. Put this one in the middle so you can see the other ribbon. There we go. And that is what that bundle is going to look like once you do all of the pipe cleaners. So let's do, put your 2 pipe cleaners through the back. Just make sure it's going over at least one of the rungs. You can do 2 or you could do 1, it does not matter. Pull tight. Okay, you need to pull tight, X, twice. 2 is the magic number. Okay, there we go. And that's how those 2 look once the pipe cleaners are pulled through. Okay, I am back. It has been 24 hours. And these are the little bees. I got these from the Dollar Tree. They're wooden. They're already pre-painted. They did come with little sticky pads on the back, but I took those off because, like I said before, when you glue something on with the sticky pad, okay, or even just use the sticky pad, you're putting the sticky pad on whatever it is, not the product, okay? So eventually it'll wear off and then it'll just come off. So we took the little sticky pad off and we're going to use some E6000 to glue wherever we would like to go. And then we'll use a clip to put it on there to keep it there for 24 hours. But before we do that, we're going to finish putting our pipe cleaners through. So we're going to put it inside of the wreath form on either side of the bars. And I'm going to go through and do that for several of them and then flip it over so that you can watch me twist it. That way you know exactly what I'm doing. And remember that it's a cruffle so that there's an opening on each side. And so when you put it through, you shouldn't have any issues putting it through. Okay, just make sure it's around 1 bar at least. Let's do the outer layer first, and then we'll do the inner layer. All right. Now let's flip it over. Now you'll see all these. Okay, so let's make sure they're all twisted. Pull them up. Make sure it goes around at least 1 bar. It can go around 2, but you don't need to go that far. Just pull and then twist. That's all it is. And do it like 3 or 4 times. That way it stays. And we are going to cut these off so that it doesn't hurt any doors that it sits on. Because essentially this is wire. Okay. Put this through. You pull up, twist. It's going to make everything else pop and make sure everything is secure. Try not to push your wreath down too much because you're going to make it flat. You're not going to want to poof everything again once you're doing it several times. So let's not put our weight on the wreath base as you're doing this. Okay. Now let's do the top layers and put the pipe cleaners through. And yes, you could just cut them off if you wish. I just like the look of it when we push them through and then attach them. On top of that, it gives you the option, say for some reason you get a stain on a piece of the ribbon, you could just unattach it and put new ribbon in there. Sometimes I do come across wreaths that have not sold, and then I will take them apart and repurpose them if I can. If the mesh is not usable, then I'll just throw the mesh away. Usually the ribbon is usable, and usually the frame is usable. So it just saves some money later on, and don't worry about any of this. We're gonna poof it once we're done. There's no point in poofing it until we are done. Okay. We're just slipping it through the back. All the way around. Okay. There we go. Pull, X, twist. And remember, it can be on one ring or two. It is your preference. Or you could just go with the flow like I'm doing. Twist. Pull. Twist. Almost done. There we go. All right, looks like we got them all. So next we're going to take our trusty wire cutters. And do not use your scissors. It will dull your scissors. Okay? Leave a little portion like this. So about 1/2 inch. You could also leave it a little bit longer if you wish. But then you just take the little nubby and just push it underneath one of the rungs. Ta-da! Just push it under. There's a couple reasons why I do not cover my back. The back of the wreath, and that's the reason why, is because a lot of people do not understand that I do wired. It's completely wired and there's no hot glue, and people always ask how do you do this? Well, this is how. And they don't believe me. And so usually I just leave the back open just so that they can see how it was put together. On top of that, even if you put a felt in the back, these things are still going to poke through unless you do this. On top of that, if you use a colored felt, so like a green, red, blue, whatever it is, that color would still leak off of the felt and onto their door if it rains. If you use a cotton, it probably won't do it as much. And it's just too much of a pain. So unless I'm doing zip ties, I usually do not cover the back. We will do a zip tie one later. I do not have my stuff for it today, but usually I use those with the Unique in the Creek boards, or the knockoff brands. Whichever one you have is fine. But when you use the zip ties, it leaves these little sharp nubbies on the back. And so I will cover it with those for that specific purpose. And just remember to tuck these underneath a rung. It's not going to harm anything. Remember to leave a little bit of space. You don't want to just cut it off. If you do accidentally cut one off, go ahead and take it apart. Take everything out of that bundle, okay? And then put a new pipe cleaner in and then reattach everything. Okay, now that all of our pipe cleaners are through and tied and cut, we can go through and fluff a little bit. I wouldn't do a whole lot just because we still need to put our sign on. But just, some minor, just kind of, oh, well, you go there and you need to be poofed a little bit. The way that I poof is I normally put my fingers inside. You could spread your fingers like a V and then pull up a little bit. Okay, depending on what you want it to look like. These satin ribbons are a little bit harder to work with sometimes. Sometimes they get hooked onto the mesh. Okay, and that is what that looks like. Okay, now let's put our sign on. It has been 24 hours. Let's take our clips off. This is what it's going to look like. There's some, you can kind of sort of see a little bit of the clear glue, but you really can't tell because it's clear and it dries on clear. Okay? It's not going to come off. We're good. Okay. Now you can use silver wire for this, or you can use green. I just have the green handy right now. I'm not quite sure where my silver is, so we're going to use the green. I usually get about this much just because we fold it over. Let's see how much this is. About 14 inches. Okay, you're going to take your wire, okay, you're going to find the end, it doesn't matter which end, and there's little holes. Do you see the little holes right there? You put it through the hole. Do you see that? And then onto the other side through that hole. Pull it through. Bring it up so that you see where they end, so it's about the same. It doesn't have to be correct because we're going to probably cut off the end anyways. Okay, And then I usually make an X and twist. Pull hard. You want it to be tight. Okay? And there's one of our wires. Let's do the other 3. And no, you don't have to bring it all the way out to 14 inches. You could do a little bit longer. You could do a little bit less. It is up to you. I like to work it with about a medium length just because you have to go through the mesh and it's easier to find. And no, we are not going exactly through the mesh. We will be going around the mesh. But since it's so poofy, it will be easier to find if you have it a little bit longer. All right. And yes, I was going to put cable mounts on the little bees, but apparently the bees are too small for me to put the cable mounts on. You'll be able to see the cable mounts. So we're just going to glue it on. Have to be flexible in crafting. Adapt. All right, almost done. X, twist, about 3 or 4 times. All right. This is what it should look like. You have your 4 wires on your cable mounts, okay? Now, you need to look at your sign and see where the top of it is. The top of it is up here, okay? Bottom, okay? And then when you look at your wreath, you need to decide where you want your top. We decided that we were going to do the longer ribbon on the bottom, I think. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. Okay. So we're going to put it like this. And then kind of situate it where you want it to be. Find the top of your wire. Your top wire is up here. Now, you are going to be putting it in the hole in between the bunches. Do not put your wire through your mesh. It will lead to fraying. Okay? Alright. So put your wire through just like you did the pipe cleaners. And yes, it is going to be loose. Put it loose and then X. And then twist. It's going to be loose until you put the rest of the wires through. And then we'll tighten. Okay? Find your next wire. Put it through the rungs, not through your mesh. Put them in between the mesh. Worst case scenario, put it through the mesh, but I would prefer not to just because it'll pull because these are weaved. This is a weaved mesh. So when you put something through it and it moves, it's going to move the little strings and the weaves around and it'll make it so that it frays easier. So please do not put your wire through the mesh. Find a hole where the mesh isn't. If you need to, like this one might be sitting on, oh, no, it's not. If it is sitting on top of a bundle and you need to put it, we're putting it around 2 rungs. I should have said that. But if it is sitting on top of a bundle, put it where you put your pipe cleaner. Match it up. If it doesn't, put it in between the 2 bundles. We're just putting it through. See where it sits. All right. And yes, it is on there very loose because we wanted to make sure that it is exactly where we want it to sit. All right, there we go. Okay, so now that we got our wire through, this is what it's going to look like. And yes, it is very loosely on there. Next, what we're going to do is I'm going to push the mesh out just a little bit. We can readjust it later, but so that you get the wire where you want it to be and how tight it should be, we need to push it out. I'm pushing it out of the rim of the sign. Okay? Next, you're going to pull your wire so that it's tighter. Look how much I just pulled through. Now you can untwist the wires, or you could just twist further down. Up to you. Now, make sure that it's around 2 rungs. Usually the 4th and the 3rd, okay? Especially if you're doing in the middle. Pull tight, X, twist. And you're going to twist at least 4 times. That way it is on there securely. Let's do the next one. Pull. Pull tight and at least 4 times around 2 rungs. Okay. One more. Yeah, one more. Don't worry, we can move it later. It's not a big deal. Okay. See how this one is way far off than this one? Go ahead and just put your fingers back through and move this one onto the other side of the zip tie. Pull tight, twist. Okay, now let's flip it over. This ribbon keeps attacking it. Throw it down there. Okay. All right. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so now would be the time for you to go in and poof. What I'm going to do with this mesh is usually the mesh is too curly and too poofy in order to see the sign as well, especially once you push it through. So now that we have tightened our wire, you're going to take the mesh and just push a little bit back through so that the curls are right here. Okay? And just kind of poof the ribbon as you go. There we go. Just kind of fix it. Make sure it's going the right direction. See how this one's going up? Push that one down. These ones need to be spread, so we're going to spread those. This one needs to be up a little bit. Okay. Twist it. See how this black curl is so far up? So we're going to push a little bit back in. Okay. But we still want to see that curl, so don't push it all the way through. And we want to do this before we cut our wire, That way we know if we need to tighten it more or if we need to loosen it and move it a little bit. Push this one on a little bit. There we go. Okay. And yes, you could spend up to 40 minutes poofing just one wreath if you so wish. I'm not going to do that in my video just because that's a lot of poofing and you guys will get bored just sitting there. Okay. Make sure your ribbon is going the direction you want it to go. Honestly, I don't know why we call this poofing. It's more so like ribbon turning. So this one needs to be tightened a little bit right here. But the placement is pretty good. So let's tighten this just a little bit. Yeah. So what I'm going to do to tighten, I'm just going to pull it up and then twist where the empty spot is. And yes, this will hurt your hands a little bit, so you can use pliers, like needle nose pliers or something, to twist it if you wish. My hands are pretty tough from over the years of doing this, so it doesn't bother me too much. And just kind of check the other ones, see if there's a lot of slack on them. If there is, go ahead and tighten them. You don't want it too tight because you don't want it all the way flush with the bottom rung here. But you do not want it flapping in the wind, so to speak. Okay. Now, we're going to take our wire cutters and cut above where you stopped. Okay, so that's about an inch, maybe a little bit more than that. And then tuck it under a rung. Tuck it up. And see how it's kind of coming out this way? Go ahead and just push it back over. That way, nothing is going to be poking anybody. Now, as for this wire, please, please be careful and just throw it directly into your trash bin. It should be sitting next to your craft table. That way, you don't step on them. I don't know how many times I have stepped on wire, and let me tell you, it hurts worse than stepping on glass because it goes deeper. It takes longer to heal as well. There we go. If you see like a loose strand, go ahead and just, if it comes out, then it comes out. If it doesn't, go ahead and cut it, but don't pull hard. Okay, cut it above. You see where the little knots are? Cut it above the knots. Put it over the rung and then over again if you need to. Wire is like a one-time use thing. So if you do have to, say, repair the sign or whatever, and the wire needs to be replaced. Every time you take the sign off, anytime that you need to readjust the sign, you will have to put new wire on. Just because every time that you twist it, if you untwist it, it will become less strong. And so it will break easier. Okay? All right. Now that we are done with the majority, let's have some fun with our little bees here. there is our E6000. And here's some of our bees. Okay, I also found little ladybugs. I thought those were absolutely adorable. Hopefully they come out with more. Okay, so you only need just a tiny bit of E6000. Just kind of wipe it on there. Do you see that? Okay, I'm going to put this one right here. Just like that. If there's a little excess coming out, go ahead and just wipe it with your fingers. It'll come off your fingers. You can also wipe it on your mat. Eventually you could peel it off when it's dry enough. When you're using E6000, keep in mind that if it is a full bottle and never been used, the glue will come out really, really fast, okay? So you need to be very, very fast or close the lid in between putting them on, okay? Okay, and then I'm gonna put one this way, up there. Let's put just a dab. Let's put this one on the sign right there. And then we're gonna put this one right here, kind of looking towards the sign. And then this is our last one. We're gonna put this one over here, looking that way. There we go. Make sure you close your lid properly. You do not want that everywhere. If some get on your hand, go ahead and just rub your fingers like you would Elmer's glue. It'll come right off. Okay. If you do use it excessively though, it'll start hurting your fingers and burning them. Okay. All right. And that, my friends, is what it looks like. Oh, we need to put our hanger on. So let's go ahead and put our hanger on. One of our pipe cleaners came loose. Okay. Putting it back under the rug. Okay. So first you need to find the top part of your wreath. Where do you want it to hang from? Do you want it to hang sideways? Do you want it to hang straight? That's what you need to look at it. Of course, we want it to hang straight now. But there's other wreaths that I like to hang so that it goes this way instead. Or I have square frames, and sometimes I use them as diamonds. And so instead of hanging them in the middle of the square, I hang it on a corner of one of the corners of the square so that it looks like a diamond. So make sure you look at your wreath so that you know where you want to hang it. Okay? All right. So we're going to put this one about right here. So we probably should have done this before we put the bees on. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to put your pipe cleaner. My hands have glue on them still. Okay. Put it through 2 rungs. Okay. And then bring the bottom part up and twist with the longer part. That is all this is. Just twist until there is no more for that shorter piece. Okay, and then do it again. Put this through, put the longer piece through the 2 rungs. Okay. And then bring it up and twist it on the loop. until there is nothing left. Okay, there we go. And our hanger is on. So since we put the bees on here, we want to let this sit for 24 hours before you hang it up on the wall. Because you don't want, because when you hang it up on the wall, the gravity is going to pull it in the direction that it goes for down. So let's not do that. We're going to lay it flat, let the bees sit, and then we'll come back to it in a day, and then I will probably take pictures and post them online. But this is our wreath. It is a cute gnome bumblebee wreath. Please stay tuned. I will be posting some new videos. I have another bumblebee wreath planned, as well as lots of pride wreaths, because I am hoping to get into pride. Please like, subscribe, and comment below. I will try to keep up with the comments. I am new to YouTube, so please be patient with me. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.